Welcome to the second part of this video. So now, we're going to look at some lessons from national evaluation systems around the world. At the institutional level, there are different models. There are some countries in the world that have a single lead model in which they have one institution, often the presidency, leading the evaluation system. Examples are South Africa and Benin. There are countries like Colombia, where the National Planning Department leads the evaluation system, Chile, in which the evaluation is led by the Ministry of Finance, and Costa Rica and Canada, in which the evaluations are being led by the Treasury Board Secretariat. Mexico has yet a different model, in which the national system for evaluation is run by the National Council for the Evaluation of Social Development Policy and the Ministry of Finance. Other countries are, for example, Australia, the Philippines, and Indonesia, in which multiple institutions have a key role in the development of the national evaluation system. As said before, there is no one best model in terms of advantages or disadvantages. It often is a matter of taking into account the institutional background of the country and the institutional framework to see which model makes for the best fit. We will now discuss some specific examples from countries that have good experiences with national evaluation systems. Let's start with Canada. This country has formalized evaluation policy standards and guidelines that are dynamic and flexible. This is important since development needs as well as the local context change continuously. Furthermore, the Treasury Board Secretariat, TBS, submits performance reports to the Parliament. This kind of accountability between the executive and legislative power is key. At the institutional capacity level, a mandate requires all major government departments and agencies to dedicate resources for evaluation resources in their budgets, and they must have an evaluation committee that is chaired by the Deputy Minister. This results in around 500 evaluation professionals in the Canadian Federal Public Service. Within the TBS, there is a Center of Excellence for Evaluation to elaborate evaluation guidelines, handbooks, and regulations to support training and certification. Another example is Australia. After the Labour Party took over the regime in the early 90s, they requested an increase in their social investment on social protection problems. With a low budget, they decided to create a national evaluation system to assess what were the policies and the programs that were performing well, impactful, and then ones that were not performing well and needed to be stopped. From the 1990s, Australia implemented this approach and formalized evaluation policy standards and guidelines. The government, with strong support from the Ministry of Finance, disseminates reports on service delivery and promotes competition between agencies to identify best practices. There are some key requirements. Every program is to be evaluated every 3 to 5 years. Each portfolio prepares an annual evaluation plan with a 3-year forward coverage and submits it to the Department of Finance. The Minister's new policy proposals includes a statement of proposed arrangements for future evaluation. Completed evaluation reports should normally be published. The Philippines, as a country in a developing context, is interesting in terms of enabling environment. Initially, the demand for evaluation came from donors and international organizations, but the government has demonstrated a willingness to fund evaluation activities through a centralized fund and through agency allocations. Regarding the institutional capacity, a centrally coordinated evaluation system is in the early stages of institutionalization, with the recent issuance of a policy framework and implementing guidelines. Institutional evaluation capacity exists in many agencies, which shows in the varied types of evaluations conducted in recent years. Government agencies have established linkages with non-state institutions with strong data systems that support not only monitoring but also evaluation. In relation to the individual capacity, there are many opportunities for training within the Philippines. The United States government makes use of an Office of Auditing in which they have a program assessment rating tool, which is basically a rapid evaluation of projects. This functions as a dashboard and assesses different variables in all the major public-funded projects and programs. The projects and programs whose evaluations or assessments are color-coded green have secured funding for the next period and will have an increased budget allocation. The projects in yellow or red are called improved or intervened and will receive fewer funds in the next period. Thanks for watching the second part of our series. In the next and final part, we will take a look at a list of resources that you can look at and use for your own study of national evaluation policies.